Good morning, and we will begin the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting. We do appreciate your attendance, and for the viewers, we do thank you for tuning in. And for introductions, on my left is Commissioner Deb Shore, and on my right is Vice Chair Commissioner Todd Wilchin. And I am Commissioner Roma Amison, Chair of the Board. And assisting us this morning, we have Dave Durbin of the County Attorney's Office, and Kelly Lundgren, and Dan Nolte of the County Clerk's Office. So, will you join me now in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining in. And Mr. Clerk, will you begin the agenda, please?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, October 18th, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of last week's meeting. Are there any corrections? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes. Is your mic on?
Motion carries 3-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through October 25th, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve all claims processed through today. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0. Number 3 is a special presentation, recognition of Phil Durst and family, Nestle Purina, and Yankee Hill Veterinary Clinic for the support of the Sheriff's K-9 program. Terry Wagner, County Sheriff, and Brent Moore, K-9 Program Coordinator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
With me is Sergeant Brent Moore, and we have some special guests with us. Phil Durst, if you want to come up. Hank Cerny and Mike Brown from Yankee Hill Veterinary, and Lisa Lasky from Purina Pet Care are all here. And I'll let Brent tell you a little bit about their contribution to the county and to the Sheriff's Office, and I'll leave it to him.
Thanks. As you all know, our K-9 program is entirely funded by private donations. And without the great people you see standing here, we wouldn't be able to have the stuff that we do with our K-9 program. Phil Durst has recently donated full cost of our new K-9, which you'll be seeing shortly. Deputy Lear will be bringing his new K-9 Dodge in.
Great.
And you get to meet him. Hank and Mike are with Yankee Hill Vet. They provide excellent vet care for us. They're available to us 24/7. Sometimes probably not so conveniently to you guys, but they do a great job to help us out. Nestle Purina donates all the dog food for the dogs. So as you can imagine, that's quite an expense there. So
Right.
certainly appreciate everything they do for us.
Absolutely.
I wanted to add one thing. The dog that Phil and his family purchased for us came into this country through Huntsville, Alabama, a breeder down there. His name was Jerry. And Brent and Corey Lear, who you'll meet in a minute, and they were bringing Jerry back from Huntsville and just didn't think that Jerry sounded like a very good name. And they thought Dodge, in honor of Deputy Sheriff Craig Dodge, might be a more appropriate name. And so I contacted Barb Dodge and asked her if it would be okay with her. And she was very honored. And so the dog's name is Dodge now. So he's young enough to, he'll adapt to a new name. But it's really a great tribute that, 3 of our employees who never had a chance to work with Craig chose to name the dog after him. So that's kind of a neat aside. So with that, we have some plaques to present to each of these folks. Phil Durst and his family, we really appreciate their support. And we just, like I said, Phil donated this animal, and it's a healthy expense. So, Phil, thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. You want to say a word, Phil?
I'd just like to I'd just like to thank the Sheriff's Department for giving us this opportunity to be involved with the new K-9 unit, Dodge, which is a great name. And can't thank you guys enough for serving our community and taking care of us all the time.
Thank you.
Very nice.
And Yankee Hill Vet Clinic, we just appreciate your support and being there for us when we need you. Thank you very much, appreciate it. So, you want to say a couple of words?
I just want to say it's been a pleasure to serve Lincoln and the men and women that support us every day. So,
Very nice.
Yeah, it's quite an honor to be able to serve the police department and the sheriff's department in this city. Thank you.
Last but not least, for the dog food, Nestle Purina, we really appreciate, Lisa, you being here. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and we're more than happy to donate all that we can to the K-9 unit here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
And I wanted to introduce Deputy Corey Lear. He's our new handler for Dodge, and this is Dodge. He's our newest
we gotta
newest
stand up so we
animal,
can
and
see
he's
See him.
really a pretty animal.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a working dog. I'll mention that.
Take one step back so they can get him better on
Yeah.
camera. Perfect, perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
there.
There we go. Now I can see him.
I'll mention, besides getting his new responsibilities as a dog handler, Corey and his wife had another baby last week, a week ago Sunday, so they have a second child, a newborn in the home, as well as a new animal. So lots of changes in the Lear house, so.
Why not, right?
No sleep.
Go big or go
Okay.
home, so.
How does the dog, how do you manage the dog? Is it pretty well trained yet, or do you have to?
About halfway through our training. The first portion is narcotics, and the second is patrol. So we're certified for narcotics. We go back next week for the rest, so.
Okay.
And he's done very well so far.
How old is he?
He's a little over a year and a half.
Now, was there something special when you went to Townsville to select Dodge that stood out, or what helped you select him as your companion?
Yeah, there's certain
Partner.
traits, and they run him through some drills, kind of some testing drills. Deputy Hinkle could probably speak better to that than myself with his experience, but there are certain character traits and things you like to see, so.
Great.
What is your background in handling dogs? I mean, do you have to take a specific school, or?
I just go along through training with him at the same time, so I get certified as a handler, and he gets certified as a patrol dog or a narcotics dog, so.
And what breed? Is it a German Shepherd or?
It's a Belgian Malinois.
Okay.
Both of our dogs are Malinois now.
Okay.
Jason Hinkle is our other handler. He has Sasha, who's also a Belgian Malinois. So they're proven to be really good dogs. They're not necessarily prone to some of the health issues that shepherds have had. So, but like Brent said, our canine program is entirely funded, except for the deputies' wages, through donations. And Sasha was donated by an anonymous donor, and we just appreciate everybody's support of our canine program.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Durst, thank you very much. We're very grateful, and the whole team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thank you for allowing us to make this presentation.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a invaluable addition to the police force. And by the way, congratulations on your new addition. We need to talk about that, too.
Another girl, I'm outnumbered now.
Uh-oh.
Thank you.
You bet. And thank you, everyone.
How nice is that?
Next is a public hearing, county change of zone number 16026 from AG Agricultural District to AGR Agricultural Residential District on property generally located at South 60th Street and Woodstruck Road.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and I will now open it. And for those folks who would speak in favor of this, please come forward.
The one swear in, do you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good morning. My name is Mike Eckert with Civil Design Group here in Lincoln, 8535 Executive Woods Drive, Suite 200. Here today on behalf of BCL INC LLC, which has a contract to purchase the 80 acres in question here that is owned by the Jane Bauer family. I want to put up an exhibit here to give you a little frame of reference on it. It is a fairly unique project in the respect that it's the first one I've ever had where it has 3 jurisdictions that we've had gone through for the government approvals. This portion of the property of the 420s that make up the 80 is in the Roca jurisdiction, so it's about 66 acres, a large majority. And then about 11 acres here that brings me in front of you today for the county. And then last night we were in front of the city council for a very small portion. There are 3 acres that happens to be in the 3-mile jurisdiction of Lincoln. I'll go down here onto the site map to give you a little better reference too. So this is in the mile section bordered by Whitstruck on the north, Roca on the south, South 54th on the west, and South 68th on the east. There's already a predominance of acreages here with the Preserve It Cross Creek project and the additional phases that were done here a few years ago. And so, give you an idea too on the layout that we have for the subdivision. 23 lots, can't quite get zoomed out far enough. So Whitstruck on the north there. We've planned connections into the adjacent properties in the event. There's also some acreage development there. And so the Roca Planning Commission and the Roca Village Board have approved this unanimously for both the change of zone and the prelim plat. The prelim plat received unanimous approval at the Lincoln Lancaster County Planning Commission. And so what's before you is just the change of zone so that we may make the development complete with that portion in the county jurisdiction going from AG to AGR. So the staff reports in there and discussed their support of it to allow the continuation of the subdivision since it did receive ROCA approval. So be happy to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, Larry?
80 acres, 23 lots, so they're going to be pretty close to 3.5, 4 acre lots, I suppose.
They're all over 3.
They're all
And when we put in the road networks, we end up losing some density. The 80 would permit 26, but there's really no way to get to the 26 by the time you put the roads in. So yes, on average, I would say that we're, net density is 3.5. All of them are over 3 acres, so we comply with NDEQ standards. There won't be a community sewer system here. Everybody will have their individual systems.
And how wide are the right-of-ways for the roads?
So all the roads are 60-foot wide. They'll be built to county standards.
You knew where I was going.
Yes. And most importantly, so ROCA doesn't have the ability to bond for this, that it be done. So the only way we can get our final plat approved by the Village of ROCA, and then even on the county side too, which is done administratively, is that they have to be built, certified by Ken Schroeder and the county staff that we've got the right amount of rock, the ditches are graded correctly, they're seeded properly. 60-foot of right-of-way. When the day comes that 60% of those lots are occupied, then they can petition for the county, but they'll certainly be billed. They've been done to design standards. Our access onto Whitstruck was the one and only location we met site distance, so all the road stuff's been reviewed pretty thoroughly.
Well, that's good to have that planning, and I think as the proximity and as much growth is out there, I think they'll sell fairly fast. What do you anticipate these lots average or price range?
The discussions we've had with the realtor indicate that they would be probably in the upper 80s to in the $90,000 range, being that they will be on gravel. They lose a little bit of that premium, but yes, it's strong demand down in the Norris area, and with this being at the fringe of the ROCA jurisdiction, they felt like it was an appropriate use for acreages there because they do not feel they're ever going to grow out that far. So.
And it's so urbanized that it isn't really good for farming anymore, and just look at the valuation that will come, and then when you put the houses on top of it. So
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of opposed to acreage growth, but it really does pay its way.
Well, we think this area fits well, and we suspect that the land to the west and south will be developed, and that'll allow us to make connections back into the Preserve at Cross Creek too. So we think the network in this mile section is laying out pretty well.
appreciate you looking at the long range, where the roads may go in the future.
Yep.
It's always better to plan than have to correct.
Yeah, it's good to have the connectivity, which we have to the south, 2 to the east, and 1 to the west, in case that does happen.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, thank you so much. Tom?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Tom Chaka, planning staff. Don't have much to add. I just wanted to comment on, you may have noticed in the conclusion on the first page of the report, it says that the change of zone is not in conformance with the comprehensive plan. That's based on the land use plan. The future land use plan shows this as agriculture, although when you look at other criteria, planning staff is why planning staff has recommended approval to this. Other criteria that was touched on a little bit was, out of the 80 acres, only about 11 and a half acres is in the county jurisdiction. ROCA has approved this. It is in conformance with ROCA's comprehensive plan. Their comprehensive plan shows all that areas for acreage lots. Other factors we looked at is it's on rural water, right? It's not having individual wells, so water's not a factor. Most of the soil, the majority is not prime farmland in this area, and its proximity to other existing acreages are all factors we look at and take into consideration. So just wanted to clarify that. Any questions?
Okay. Well, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Okay, well then what I will do is close the public hearing and let's move on to correlating item 5A.
This is a resolution regarding county change of zone number 16026 from AG Agricultural District to AG Agricultural Residential District on property generally located at South 60th Street and Woodstock Road.
I move approval.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution regarding the county change of zone. And Todd, you had a comment?
Yeah, I just want to make one comment. I do believe that this change of zone does conform with the 2040 comprehensive plan, and I do support approving it.
Okay, all right. Any further comments? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5B is an agreement with Great Plains Appraisal, Inc. for qualified professional appraisal services to assist the county assessor's office in performing the appraisal functions necessary to process the Tax Equalization Review Commission appeals for the 2016 tax year and any pending appeals from past tax years. Total compensation for services shall not exceed $200,000.
Ryan Swaroff, Deputy County Attorney. I'm just here if you have any questions regarding the Turk
Okay.
stuff in general.
Okay.
Good morning, Tom Cooper with Great Plains Appraisal. Here to answer any questions that you might have regarding this contract.
Larry?
Tom, you and your firm have probably more expertise than anyone else, not only in the state but in the region. Is there anything that we could do as we prepare so we don't have to have so many cases going to Turk? I know you've had some suggestions in the past, and I think the January meetings with the assessors to iron out some things have really helped. Is there anything further that we could do?
I think that in the last year to year and a half, we have seen quite a bit of progress in the way Lancaster County has interacted both with the taxpayers and with the Tax Equalization Review Commission. I think we're seeing just a drop in number of parcels affected, drop from a year ago. In October, we had 566. We're down to 343.
Still a lot.
Well, that's a drop of 200, but there are 226 cases filed last year. And so the net, it really does show that we're making progress. We're being more proactive rather than reactive to calling a case and then us trying to catch up. We've been more active in filing for information that we need from the taxpayers.
I have told you before that we always get better information when we go to Turk. Because at the Board of Equalization level in the summer, it's up to whatever the taxpayer wants to provide. And we don't have the ability to demand or request. We can request, but we can't demand information. When we get to Turk, we do go through a more formal process of information gathering through the county attorney's office, and we get information that is way better. It is the actual information that we would request had we were going to do this appraisal for a bank or a trial or any other case. This is the kind of information we would get, and so we do get to resolution of the cases much faster because we get the right information. And so I think being proactive in getting that information has shortened the caseload, has shortened the time frame in order to get the cases resolved. I do see it moving in the right direction. We do have cases that go back to 2012, but those cases represent 3 ownerships. And they're simply cases that are bogged down in the legal process, not in the Turk process and not in the county process. And so we are getting better at that. I think we've made strides in the right direction. We can always get better. And so we're always looking for those areas, not only to make the process better for the taxpayers, but also to save money along the way. I think when we can settle these matters rather than getting to Turk, it saves the county thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's something that has worked well in this contract.
Can you talk to us a little bit about Turk and maybe the improvements, or are they doing some things to streamline? Because I know when we see those 2012s and 13s and 14s still coming through and 16, we know they have a tremendous backlog. Are they doing some things to streamline so that they can handle the cases faster too?
They are, and one of the things they're doing is they're combining cases. Rather than dealing with all the 13s and then coming up to all the 14s, they'll take, if a parcel has a 13, 14, 15, and now a 16, they're combining and calling those all together so we can just deal with it once. And that makes it more efficient.
Thank you.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Great Plains Appraisal Incorporated. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
I guess if I would just make one comment, the very fact is that if we can get the information out, if people would bring in the information that is really necessary, things may not have to go to Turk.
We do try every year, and we'll just keep trying.
Just keep trying. That's
Thank you.
exactly right. Mhm.
5C is a recommendation from the purchasing agent, county engineer, and county weed superintendent to award and execute a contract for cleaning services for the county engineering office, shop, and weed control to Rise and Shine. The total estimated amount is $9,900. Line 3 was quoted. The correct price is $125 per month instead of $375.
Morning, Bob Walla, purchasing agent. I just wanted to clarify that line number 3 part of it, the vendor did make a waivable error on that where they did not see the full piece of the weed control being so much less than the other 2 areas. And when we took the per square foot price for the 125, it is right in line with the other vendors for that area. And that makes them the lowest bidder, the lowest responsible bidder.
Well, it's quite a difference.
Well, based on the explanation from purchasing, I will recommend or move that we approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this recommendation for the contract with Rise and Shine. Any discussion?
Makes me just want to go clean. Rise and shine.
Please, is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. D is an agreement with Dr. Donna Ballou to provide professional services to lead the enhancement of youth crisis response services in Lincoln and to develop a 1-year plan. Term of the contract is from October 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017. The cost to the county is not to exceed $15,000.
Good morning, Sarah Hoyle, Director of Lincoln Lancaster Human Services. And these next 2 agenda items, item D and E, are funding through community aid funding, which is the predetermined amount of money appropriated through the legislature. It's based upon the county's juvenile population ages 10 through 17. So item D is an agreement with Dr. Belau to facilitate our crisis response enhancement for kids in Lincoln. And this started, we applied and we were accepted into the NACO Institute of Integrating Behavioral Health into our juvenile justice system. And so when we returned and started drilling down on data, one of the things that we found that police were responding to a lot of behavioral health calls with juveniles. And I mean over 500 in 1 year. And so it was a significant number that we wanted to look more at, to look to see what resources we could put in place in our community that might divert some of these calls from coming in the first place, but also when they do come in, to have an appropriate system in place to serve juveniles and their family. And Dr. Belau is currently facilitating this same process within Region 3, the Grand Island, Hall County area. So he's familiar with this, he's done extensive research in this, and he's also a psychologist, which helps a lot. So he will be taking the lead on this and facilitating this and working with the region. They just received a System of Care grant, so hopefully braiding that funding between the community aid dollars and that region funding.
Yes, question?
There's been a juvenile suicide prevention coalition meeting as well. Will he be working with that group, bringing them into this planning?
So he is also very instrumental in that committee. So this was a perfect fit. He's familiar with, he coordinates the loss team for this area, the suicide response team, and then he also is part of the team that you're talking about. Yes.
Okay. I will move approval of the agreement with Dr. Bellew.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this agreement with Dr. Bellew. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudgens.
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. E is a grant contract with Lincoln Public Schools in the amount of $213,337 to provide funding for a truancy diversion program and restorative justice coordination at Northeast and Lincoln High Schools and Park, Goodrich, and Kohler Middle Schools. Term of the contract is July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017.
And I would just introduce Judge Ryder and Bruce Prenda with the County Attorney's Office. And Judge Ryder's been with this program, as you know, from the beginning, so he knows it better than anyone.
Good morning.
I was just asked to come over by Ms. Hoyle in regards to this being on the agenda today. I know I've talked with you before about the program. I firmly believe in the program, and I understand that there are expenses, but in many ways, this is a program that's saving a lot of money. In fact, and I'm talking more long-term even than short-term, but in the short term, it's important to understand that all of these kids in our programs, and we're now at 6 different schools in Lincoln, and we're talking about expanding in the fall to possibly Bryan or Lincoln Southeast. All of those students that we're dealing with would otherwise be working with the probation office, which are obviously state employees, and of course, if there are needs for more probation officers, there's a need, as you know, for office space and computers and all the equipment that kind of went in with the big transition a couple of years ago. So I did bring with me some information that I presented some information before to you. And 2 weeks ago, we did present our program to a statewide conference that was here in Lincoln, and I'm not going to present that here because that took like an hour. But I did print the PowerPoint off for you if you're interested in some of the information. And just one thing I want to point out in here is that really this is a graduation initiative, and it's been demonstrated in countless ways how much of a benefit it is in many ways to have students graduate from high school, whether it be the chances of being incarcerated are far less, that their chances of needing unemployment assistance is far less, welfare and all those expensive programs that are there. The numbers are significantly different with a high school diploma versus not. And one of the stats I just want to point out to you is it's been estimated that over the course of the lifetime of each high school dropout, it's estimated to cost the country $260,000 in lost earnings, taxes, and productivity. That's for each student. And we are seeing some real changes with our kids that are in the program. There was a story in the Journal Star a couple weeks ago, you may have seen it. It was focusing on the Pinnacle Bank Arena and the suite and some high school students that were able to use it. But within that story, it addressed a couple of the students are in the program at Lincoln High and just how incredible they've transformed their school performance because of that program. And so we're seeing great results. We think it's a terrific program. It's a collaboration between the schools and the juvenile court, and it really is making a big difference in the lives of the kids we're working with. I firmly believe in the program, And I sincerely hope we can continue the program and not only that, but expand it in the fall to another school. There's also discussions that other counties have talked with us and are interested in trying to create this type of a program themselves. So if you're interested, I'll leave this PowerPoint for you. It's 50 pages. I didn't have time to run 4 copies off.
One's good.
I think one is fine.
We'll rotate it in the
Okay.
office. Yeah.
And I have the article from the Journal Star as well, if you're interested in that. So you guys, if you have any questions, I'll certainly answer those.
Todd?
But how many kids are served through the program annually?
Annually, I don't know the actual number, but we have, Bruce and I were talking this morning, we have in excess probably 50, 55 kids that we're working with total. And what we're seeing, when we talked about expanding to another school, the one thing we're looking at is what school has the greatest need for this kind of a program. And one of the identifiers was Southeast, that evidently there are some kids that are struggling in other schools that might be becoming a destination school for some of those students. And but it varies. So we're working with 12 or 13 students at Lincoln High, and of those students, I'll let you know that last week, we meet every 2 weeks over at the school, and one of the incentives we've created for them is if they don't want to come meet with us every 2 weeks, there are 3 criteria that they have to meet, and they don't have to come. They can be excused. One is their attendance for the 2 weeks before has to be absolutely perfect. They can't be tardy for 1 period. They can't be truant for 1 period. They can't have a parent acknowledge for 1 period. They can't even get sick for 1 period. So if they can meet that criteria, the second criteria is their grades have to be at least passing in all of their classes, and the third one is they have to go to counseling as is recommended by the counselor. And we had half of our kids in the program, just about half, that did not have to be there last week, and that's 2 times in a row that they've been excused and these were kids that were missing in excess of 20 days of school to even get them in the program to begin with. But we're in the neighborhood 50 to 55 probably total, again, we're looking to expand that and increase the numbers. And the other thing that it is doing that really doesn't go into those numbers, and that's kind of reflected in here, is there's a real big preventative piece in this. In that what the social workers are doing is they're not just working with the kids in our program, and you may think, well, that's not a big number for what they're doing. They're also working with the kids that are starting to miss school much earlier than they would traditionally be involved. And one of the stats in here shows a graph from Lincoln, or from Park Middle School, and it may be kind of hard to see here, but this goes by year from left to right, and the numbers go up significantly at this point here in 2011. This is the daily attendance rate at Park Middle School. It has gone up significantly from the year that this program began. And they're a Title I school with a tremendous number of students coming and going. Mr. Zabawa, the principal, he actually has updated some of this information. When he gave me this information, they had students from 16 countries that speak 15 different languages, now in excess of 20 different languages. So there's a lot of challenges in working with those students. But their daily attendance rate is now on par with Scott Middle School in the very high end of daily attendance. So that's, to me, the real benefit is they're trying to keep the kids from even getting into the program, whether they end up in court the traditional way or in this program. So that number is hard to equate because we don't know how many of them would have ended up in there. But once they start to have issues with school, they're not waiting for that collaborative plan, not waiting for that 15, 20 days to come. They're bringing the families in, they're pulling the kids into their offices and trying to figure out what's going on, how can we help you. And that's in part why we're seeing not only a daily rate attendance increasing at Park, but we've seen a tremendous decrease in the number of students in the program. When we started in 2011, we had 22 students in the program from Park Middle School. There now are 3 at Park Middle School because the number has dropped that much of the kids that are not even meeting the criteria to be in the program.
Well, and I know that, based, a lot of times we look at return on investments, but I think this is one of those situations where it would be very difficult to quantify that, but we just look at the results in the community, and we realize that what you're doing, and with the help of Sarah and her team, I think it's definitely, and the Lincoln Public Schools, is definitely having a positive impact on our community. So thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have a comment, though, because one of the things about LPS is that they have noticed an increase in the graduation rates, and they are projecting, as one of their goals, a greater. I forget what the percentage is, but it is really increasing. And so the thing is that this is a good cooperative effort.
It is, and that collaborative effort really wasn't there between the schools and the courts.
Right.
When I was an attorney starting out in the late 90s, I would, Mr. Prenda's office would hand me an attendance report for a kid, and I'd say, well, what else has been done? And they said, and I've been told that in many cases, that's all that they got from the school. There just wasn't a lot of collaboration, and that's certainly not the case any longer.
Yeah, and I've only been involved in this, as you know, for a couple of months, and it's absolutely fantastic, the response that kids have. I'm in 4 schools. I have Northeast, North Star, Color, and Goodrich. And Color and Goodrich feed into North Star and Northeast, and then Judge Ryder has Park and Lincoln High, which are the feeder schools, and the kids just really respond to it. It also saves time in court. For those 50 kids that I'm dealing with and Judge Ryder's dealing with in those schools, that's time that the judges have to deal with other cases in court. So it saves time and effort there too.
Larry?
Well, that's what I was going to do, is ask Mr. Prenda to make some comments on behalf of the Public Defender's Office. But you talk about cooperation. Well, look at the cooperation between the Public Defender's Office and the Judicial Branch and the County Attorney's Office, and Sarah helping coordinate too. That's what you can do when you all start working together and you find a common denominator. And, this is an investment in the future. We turn those kids around, they're going to be citizens that we're not going to have to incarcerate in the future, and hopefully they can be productive taxpayers and citizens.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify for the record, Mr. Prenda is with the County Attorney's Office.
Excuse me.
The Public Defender
Theirs is also involved.
Yeah, the Public Defender did not wish to be involved in this when we started, and so we've been working with John Broughton. As you, I'm sure, know, he's been the attorney working for the kids, and he's been involved from the start as well. But
it does save some money. I mean, you bring up a good point, because the legislature required all individuals, kids in juvenile court to be represented by an attorney. That's cost. And with this program, there's an appointment of an attorney one time, and then that attorney does not appear if the kids stay in the school. And I deal with them one-on-one, and the school deals with them. And then if they graduate, you don't incur any more defense costs. So there is a tangible savings in that regard too.
And I really would encourage you to look through this. I know there's a lot in here, but there are a lot of very, I think, compelling statistics that talk about, you talk about the incarceration rate, and that's really reflected in here, among other concerns and other costs. So,
When did this program actually begin?
2011.
2011. Okay, so there's been a tremendous significant
Yeah, and the reason we
success
picked,
in 5 years.
the reason we picked Park Middle School is Mr. Prenda talked about, it does feed into Lincoln High. Other schools do as well.
Right.
But at that time, the on-time graduation rate at Lincoln High was only 66%. And certainly among minorities, it was even less. So it's a real issue, and we're seeing some really good results. So we.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, Judge, for sharing your expertise with, speaking at conferences and other places across the state. We are working to get Judge Ryder out to speak at a NACO conference.
Yes, I know.
And trying to work that into his schedule so he can share what we've done successfully here with our coworkers and friends across the state.
We'll get something to work.
All right.
All right. So
Great.
I'll leave these for you. Do you want me just to leave these with you? All right. Any other questions that you have for us?
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Madam
thank
Chair, I would move approval of the grant contract.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the grant contract with LPS. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. F is an amendment to County Contract C-9-137 with Legacy International, Inc., doing business as Legacy Inmate Communications for inmate phone services. The amendment renews the contract from November 1st, 2016 through July 22nd, 2017.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve this amendment to the county contract with Legacy International. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. 5G is an amendment to County Contract C-14-545 with Big Iron Auctions LLC for online and on-site auctioneer services. The amendment renews the contract from November 18th, 2016 through November 17th, 2017.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve this amendment to the county contract. for the auction services. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. H is an amendment to county contract C-16-111 with W.W. Granger, Inc., using NJPA RFP number 91214 for facilities maintenance, repair, and operating supplies. The amendment renews the contract from October 22nd, 2016 through October 21st, 2017. The estimated cost of the county is not to exceed $18,000.
Move approval.
Second?
It's moved and seconded that we approve this amendment to the county contract with W.W. Granger, Inc. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. I is an addendum to memorandum of agreement with the Department of Homeland Security, county contract number C-10-155, on behalf of Lancaster County General Assistance for the systematic alien verification for entitlements program. The addendum renews the agreement through June 30, 2017, and verifies the county's anticipated collections for the new term.
Move approval?
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve this addendum, or this memorandum. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this addendum to memorandum of agreement with the Department of Homeland Security. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Wilchin,
Abstain.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 3 yes, 1 abstention. Number 6 are consent items. Receive and place on file the county attorney's quarterly report for July to September 2016. Utility permit number 1475, allowing Alfred Benish and Company to install and extend County Culvert W208 on Southwest 42nd Street between West Pella and West Hallam Roads. There is no cost to the county.
Move approval of consent items?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the consent items. Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 7 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
We're in that time of year when a person often doesn't know at the beginning of the day how to dress for the end of the day.
That's correct.
Gary Aldridge, Lincoln, Nebraska. The owner of average value residential property in Lancaster County will pay in CY 2017 25 additional tax dollars. In August, this board approved, without dissent, a cost of living adjustment, COLA, for certain county employees. Similar action probably occurs each year. The increase, as I remember, was 2.5%. I offered comments not opposed to that action, only that you folks must be accurate and precise. On that, you are a bit wobbly. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has now released the COLA for federal annuities in CY 2017, 0.3%. 0.3%. Beginning calendar year 2009 through calendar year 2017, 9 years, the average COLA for federal annuities has been 0.96%. 0.96% is what a COLA looks like. The average increase for a federal annuity will be $4 per month in CY 2017. 2.5% is not a COLA. 2.5% is an adjustment to salary, a pay increase. There is nothing diabolical or sinister about a pay increase. It is disingenuous or inaccurate or imprecise when a thing is called what it is not. The average annuitant who owns average value residential property in CY 2017 gets an additional 48 COLA dollars income, then pays an additional $25 as property tax. That before SCC. Grumpy about taxes is not a mystery to most. Quote, Iraq's U.S. trained troops join attack on Mosul. The Star A3 above the fold, 21 October 2016. embedded in one paragraph, quote, "In the North, a U.S. service member is killed." Not reported in the Star. Jason C. Finnan, F-I-N-A-N, 34, Anaheim, California, CPO, U.S. Navy, KIA, 20 October 2016, near Mosul, in Iraq. Many see no connection between this event and Lancaster County. I do. The United States has called a band or bands of sisters and brothers to preserve, protect, and defend. No small matter. Some go in harm's way. No small matter. Some are killed or injured. No small matter. Some are changed in ways most cannot or will never understand. No small matter. Some do profound good, touching the lives of those who look and worship and speak differently. No small matter. It is not sufficient to say we recognize the effort. It is absolutely essential to say we remember this sacrifice that will forever touch and change a life or lives of our fellow citizens. No small matter. Quote, he gave his life for his teammates, Jason Finnan, 34. The Washington Post, 22 October 2016. Few would confuse the Washington Post with the Journal Star. One is a newspaper, one a weak imitation. Inquiring minds can decide.
Okay. Well, thank you for your comments.
Next is number 8, announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, October 27, 2016, at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford Studio of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold their next regular meeting on Tuesday, November 1st, 2016, at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building, with the Board of Equalization meeting immediately following. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 1st, 2016, at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding an amendment to Article 1, Section 6 of the Lincoln-Lancaster County Air Pollution Control Program Regulations and Standards to modify emission fees for regulated air pollutants. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, November 1st, 2016, at 6:30 p.m. in room 112 of the County City Building regarding the 1 and 6 year road and bridge improvement program. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live. It is rebroadcast on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays on 5 City TV, cable channel 5. In addition, the meeting may be viewed on the internet at lancaster.ne.gov under 5 City TV Video on Demand or 5 City TV on YouTube.
Move we adjourn?
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Let's move on now to the Lancaster County Board of Equalization.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Also in attendance this morning is Scott Gaines from the county assessor's office. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approve the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, October 18th, 2016.
Move approval.
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of last week's meeting. Any corrections? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Hudkins?
Yes.
Shore?
Yes.
Wilchin?
Yes.
Amundson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 3 is a public hearing. This is motor vehicle tax exemption applications for Good Neighbor Community Center, Great Plains Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church, House of Prayer Christian Church, Lutheran Family Services of Nebraska, Inc., Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital, and Parkview Christian School.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and I will open the public hearing. And seeing no one coming forward to discuss this, I will close the public hearing. So let's move on to item 4.
This is action on motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval?
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we approve the motor vehicle tax exemption applications. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins.
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Number 5 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on agenda may just do it this time.
I move we adjourn?
Second.
It's moved and seconded that we adjourn. Please call the roll.
Wilchin,
Yes.
Hudkins,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.